but we could be alone between city lights. We don't have to hide. I wanna go, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in a secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? I can't understand why we can't hold hands, but they don't know what we have is real love. Aren't you sick and tired of having to hide? I know a place, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in a secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Livestream. I'm here. I survived. I survived the oh my goodness. You missed out if you were not here yesterday for the Hot Wings stream. Let me tell you. Oh, there it is behind me. I'm having PTSD. I can't wait until Blunty cuts that down. I might actually, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to just let Blunty cut that down for the Livestream Clips channel, or maybe ask Fabio even to do a cut for my regular channel, because there were some definite highlight moments for me. And I watched back. I went back and I found the moments that I wondered if they looked to the outside like they felt on the inside. There was a moment, so I did all 9. I went all the way up through the Hot Ones course, and I got to the 10th one, and then I said, for a $20 super chat, I'll do additional wings of the hottest hot sauce. I was saying it was 1.5 million Scoville. I was wrong. That was number 9. Number 10 is rumored to be north of 2.5 million Scoville. They haven't officially rated it because they're trying to play. It's hot sauce. People are weird. So if that means anything to you, 2.5 million plus Scoville. And I ate the first one. And I had 12, so I had 12 wings remaining. And so people had paid for 12 times $20. And I was therefore, obligated to eat 12 of these wings. And I ate 2 of them. and had 10 to go. And there was a moment after I ate that second one, the second of the extra ones, where I really, my whole brain panicked, and I was like, what, I can't do this. I'm not going to do this. And I was like, I have to do this. And there was just this moment where, like, in some little part of my brain was looking for the exit. Where's the exit door? And then I was like, I got to do this. So if you go back and you find, I wish I could give you a timestamp. I don't have a timestamp handy. If you go back and you find that moment where I've eaten that second of the hottest wings, and I kind of sit back and I put my arm up and I kind of laugh, like, and somebody in the chat said, "Oh, I love the Bardwell laugh." That was not the joyful Bardwell laugh. That was the I can't believe I've done this to myself laugh. That was the I need to buy time while I figure out if there's a secret trap door I can dive down and somehow escape what I've done to myself laugh. And I know you're wondering. I'm not going to give you any like gory details. I will say that immediately following the stream, I went upstairs, and I'm not ashamed to say I drank about half a pint of half and half. We didn't have milk in the house for some reason, but I had half and half. And I just sipped about half a pint of half and half. Not because my mouth was on fire, but because I wanted to somehow maybe mediate what was going to happen to my stomach. I had really bad indigestion and heartburn for most of the rest of the day. And I'm basically fine now. So as far as I know. I do not recommend it. I'm all right now. I'm basically fine. It's all sort of worked its way out. I'm fine. So thank you for hanging out for that. It was a blast. Number 9 was 666. I'm not sure about that, Ghost Branch. I'd have to go back and look. It's hot as it's hot as hell. Black Jungle, I did not drink anything. I did not have any water, ice, milk for the entire 2-hour stream until I finished all of the wings. And then I ended the stream and I went upstairs and I spent about 15 minutes worried I was going to puke and kind of wondering whether the right thing to do was to let myself puke and save myself. But then also all of it would come back up, which would be bad. So I didn't puke. Anyway. I have not finished the whole bottle of Apollo. It will be a while before I take any more Apollo, I assure you. The taste of that stuff is a little bit PTSD for me. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. It was fun. I don't want to do it again anytime soon. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the live stream. We are here. People in the Discord posting lots of GIFs, GIFs, and memes about, oh, Gordon Ramsay. Why, Gordon? It's not necessary, Gordon. It's not necessary, Gordon. Number 9 was the, well, we can look it up, Ghost Branch. I'm sure you looked it up correctly. I'm sure Ghost Branch looked it up correctly. Let me see here. Dingo Sauce Co. Here we go. No, you're right. You're right. I must have read somewhere that the last dab was 1.5 million. With the super hot sauces, a lot of times they're cagey about their Scoville rating because they don't want somebody beating their record. And if they don't let you know what the actual Scoville rating is, then nobody can target their record. So, Anyway. I've always said, I'll say one more thing about that, then we'll get on with the stream. I've always said, yeah, I like hot sauce okay. I'm not really like a hot sauce guy. By which I mean I don't really, the ultra hot, really hot sauces in the, let's say 100,000 Scoville plus range that I were like, yeah, that's not really, I mean, I'll do like one wing just to prove I can, but I think if you eat 12 Apollo wings at any point in your life, then you can't say that you're a hot sauce guy anymore. You're clearly a hot sauce guy. So, anyway, welcome to the stream, folks. Welcome to the stream. I'll be taking your questions. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. I'll be taking your questions here in the chat. I will be. That's a tough one, Ghost Branch. That's a tough one. I couldn't say. By the time you get to that heat level, I think that here's the thing: the subsequent Apollos didn't all feel the same. You get to a point where you're sort of settled in, and it stops being just like, oh, my mouth is burning, and it starts being like I'm sweating and I'm having a panic attack. It's like, how do you judge it? I'll be taking your questions in the Discord. I'll be taking your questions here. And by the way, hit the $ if you want to leave a super chat. I'll be reading super chats later in the stream. Let's talk about who asked me about the iFlight, the guy's iFlight review. Let me look this up. The guys whose Chimera 7 crashed. Where did that get posted? Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, you know what? I think I emailed Blunty about that earlier today. I should be able to find that. Oh, my dog is barking. I don't know if you guys can hear that. No, I'm not finding it here. Well, shoot. Maybe I contacted Ian about it. Damn. Most interesting stream ever. Original Dobo, thank you. So I really want to find, can anybody find the Facebook post though? So here's original, oh, sorry, Linus, we'll come back to you. Here's original Dobo's video. Dear iFlight, here's the review as promised. Chimera 7 Pro 03. So let's start here. Let's start with this. When you make a video like this, you have to understand and know, and if you don't know this, then, you know, you should, that you're burning your relationship with the vendor. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean that just because you made a bad review of a product that you're burning your relationship with the vendor. Let me be really clear about that. Hang on a second. Let me turn. I always have to turn this off. I'll come back to the super chats in a bit. You have to know you're burning the relationship with the vendor, not because you made a bad review of their product. Any vendor with, you know, a decent ethics, and iFlight has decent ethics, they're not going to nix their relationship with you because you were less than positive about their product. Those vendors do exist. iFlight isn't one of them. And they're not as common as you would think. But when you make a thumbnail where you're flipping off the product and the subject and the title is Dear iFlight, here's the review I promised. F your product. Right? Oh, whoops, wrong screen. I'm sorry. What you're doing is you are selling out your relationship with the vendor to get clicks. Okay? You're saying, you know that if a reviewer says F you to a vendor, that will get views and that will get clicks. And you've decided that that's more valuable to you than your relationship with the manufacturer. And so I'm not saying that that's the wrong way to handle it, but I am saying that you should know that you're deciding that the clicks you're going to get from this thumbnail and this title are worth burning the relationship with the manufacturer. Because the manufacturer, if you get a bad product, the manufacturer would like you to handle that in a way, like to bring that to them. And I don't know the full history of there's some talk about the back and forth between them. It sounds like what happened is that they went back and forth. They couldn't agree on how to address this issue, and he decided to burn them in order to. Either he decided that it would be good for clicks to burn them, or he was just so pissed off and frustrated that he let it out. And I'm not immune to this. You can find examples where I've been like, F this whole product, and I was so mad about it, or so just, and as a reviewer, you want to be honest. You want to let your honest feelings about a product, because if you feel like F this product, and then you go, no, I cannot taint my relationship with the vendor, and you tone it down, well, you maybe you're doing a disservice to your viewers at that point. So there's back and forth here. We got what happened in the video. So what happened in the video? Let's talk about that.
A quad that I should.
His audio sounds good.
Have reviewed back in November. But in November, something happened.
He's got that radio announcer voice. It's like hyper compressed, and he's got some kind of maybe even multiband compression, so the bass on his voice is really sort of punchy. It's really a style. It's not my favorite style, but he's done a good job.
Sending one of these into the water, which completely threw the review off the rails. I've since gotten another one, and before I reviewed this and before I talked about this quad, I really wanted to go ahead and put it through its paces. After it just plummeted into the water, I honestly lost faith in this build, in this design. And in this video, I want to talk about my entire experience. I want to talk about the drone, but I think
see, there's nothing wrong with this. This is fair. It's even-handed. It's really the thumbnail that is,
There's enough reviews out there on these for you to sort of make a good decision on iFlight as a company. And asked them if I could work with them and review this quad. However, I want to make it abundantly clear that I will still kick iFlight square in their effing peach over this, because this review cost me money, and that is, it probably was because as my GoPro and that I should try again with less wind. At the time, I accepted that GPS position. Now, the reason why I did that.
So here he's flying with no GPS lock over water, which is a questionable decision. He's about to tell us why he did that.
Because I also had the ability to arm the quad without waiting for a GPS position. Now, the reason why I did that was because the O3 air unit does get pretty hot. I was trying to keep it cool. We're doing a review. The last thing that you're thinking about is that something is going to go wrong that would send this drone plummeting.
Yeah, but okay, you're making excuses. I mean, I did a review of the Chimera. My air unit overheated once while I was waiting for GPS lock. I waited for GPS lock, and then I powered down. I waited for it to cool off, and then I powered up and went and flew with GPS lock.
Into the water. So I ended up taking off and
But why did it crash into the water? That's
did
the
not have satellites. I made it all the way across the lake, no issue. And I mean, I pushed it pretty far with the transmission system, and I still had full HD bars, and I wasn't like at a really high altitude. I think at the highest I was at.
The GPS does not power up from USB on that, I think. I'm like 85% sure it does not.
Maybe like 100 feet, and it was fantastic. And 100 feet
we're not gonna
line
watch
of
the whole
sight
video.
video. And I decided that I would try to throttle up. I would try to power out of this, and I took the goggles up, and nothing. And I just hear splash. So basically, what I believe occurred during this flight was that maybe the amp draw was too high for the built-in voltage regulator.
No, that's not true. The voltage regulator on the flight controller is fine. It's rated for 2 amps with no airflow. iFlight underspecs their regulators. By anybody else's standards, iFlight regulators would be rated for 2.5 or 3 amps. But iFlight rates them like with no airflow on a hot day on the bench, 2 amps solid. It can power the O3 air unit all day long. So he's just, I mean, he's guessing, but I think he's wrong later.
And the voltage regulator shut down. And when it shut down, it no longer powered the air unit. Now, because it
did he lose video? Why did he crash? Why did he crash? We got full 50 megabit per second. We got full RC, full HD link. I can't even imagine why he lost power and crashed. I guess we may never know. You know,
blocking me, and I just completely lose video. There's nothing blocking me, and I just completely lose video.
Like, what happened there?
And I decided that I would try to throttle up. I just no longer that plan to lose the ability to control your drone. It's just a bad combination. You need to take one of your existing quads that you have their build.
Now here's where it gets interesting.
So I went back and forth with them, and then they said to me, well, we'll send you out a Chimera 7 Pro, but we're not going to send you an O3 version. We want you to take one of your existing quads that you have O3, or one of your existing air units that you have, and we want you to install the O3 air unit into our Chimera 7 Pro. And I said, no, because that's not how it's being shipped. Why should I have to cannibalize or utilize one of my air units to review a product for iFlight?
Okay, so let's talk about that. I could see both sides of that. On the one hand, he's like, look, I'm trying to review your product. Your product was defective. It tanked into the water. If you want me to review your product, send me another product. And they're like, well, we sent you a product and you crashed it in the water. We don't know what you did. So we'll send you another one, but you're going to have to pony up your own air unit, which we know DJI sent you. So you're not out of pocket for that. You have one. I'm not going to take a side on that, but I see it both sides, I guess.
There is no benefit. And I basically said, okay, if this is...
So now this isn't really a review. It's just a he said, she said about the whole situation. We got more back and forth. So there's some back and forth here. He didn't like the product. And I can tell you, let's see. So then this guy, this is one of the, I don't know if it's the owner. I don't know what this person's exact position at iFlight is, but this person speaks for iFlight and is high up at iFlight. You dropped it in the water. The image was lost and the DJI RC link was lost. That doesn't make sense to me because we can see that he's got 50 megabits per second, strong RSSI, really unclear why it crashed. Really unclear. He was flying without SATs. We say you messed up. And we sent a free drone and dropped it in the water. And now you're going to shit on us in our review. I don't know. That's a weird one. It's a weird one. The other thing is that then iFlight releases this PSA. We've been getting more and more feedback regarding fail-safes with the DJI Radio Control 2 in combination with the O3 air unit, which is, I believe, what Original Dobo was using. So do not fly over water or any dangerous environment where you might lose your drone because of a sudden loss of video or radio link. Oh, boy. Original Dobo comes back and says, yeah, it's because you're shipping your quads with 5 gigahertz antennas. So the DJI O3 system is multiband. It uses both 2.4 gig and 5 gigahertz. And iFlight ships with 5 gig antennas only. And I think it was Original Dobo. It was someone in that thread anyway, if it wasn't him. Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was someone else in the thread. Okay, so grain of salt there. But they were arguing that the reason Original Dobo's quad crashed is because iFlight uses the wrong antennas. And iFlight comes back and says, well, we made that decision in partnership with DJI. We don't think that's why. And in fact, DJI says that it is a firmware issue. It's a firmware issue. So, now, that's a very good question, Mr. Eddie Nunez. Imagine that this wasn't a reviewer, but just a customer. And they were flying their drone over water, and it fail-safed into the water. And iFlight's official position, and if this is their official position, iFlight's official position is that there is a firmware issue that causes fail-safe and lost video when using the controller too. Well, at that point, wouldn't iFlight be responsible to make it up to their customer if they sold a product with a firmware issue that causes fail-safe? I mean, they didn't know about it at the time, presumably. Nevertheless, the fact that Original Dobo is a reviewer and not a customer, does that change things? Maybe don't fly over water when you're doing a review. I don't know. I mean, you're flying a 7-inch, you're going to fly it somewhere where you can't get it back. Anyway. That's a tough one. But you can tell that what happened here is Original Dobo was just like, F this company, is how it feels to me. That he's just like, F this company. And he decided to you go into a review, and I speak for myself here. You go into a review, and no matter how objective, maybe you start out completely objective. Maybe you're not completely objective, but you say, I'm going to be professional. I'm going to keep this, I'm going to do it by the books. And at some point, if the company or the product pisses me off enough, then I'll be like, F this product. And this is, I'm not saying that this is something that I do. It's something that looking back in the past, I see that I've done. And as I reflect and try and be a better person and a better reviewer, okay, I'm not saying that this is just my standard operating practice or something that happens all the time, but you reach a point where you're like, what am I going to tell people about this product? And what I want to tell people about this product is it pissed me off and it sucks. And I think it's going to piss them off and suck too. And when you reach that point, you got to ask yourself, is this the best thing for the viewers? Is it the best thing for me? And is it the best thing for the company making the product? If there was like I got my Chimera 7 came from iFlight with a non-functional DJI Air unit. And I didn't mention that in my review because I thought I might have mentioned it, but I didn't make a big deal out of it. I thought this is probably a fluke. This is just bad luck. I don't think it's going to reflect the customer's experience. And if it did, I think iFlight would make it right. And I'm not going to blow up in the review and make a big deal out of it. Anyway, I think that's all we can say about that. Dobo's in the YouTube chat. Oh, is he? Where is he? Let's see. I'm not gonna. I tell you what, original Dobo. I'm gonna mark you as a moderator so your name shows up in blue so everybody can see it. Don't abuse your powers as a moderator, Dobo. But I'm not going to. I don't want to get into a he said she said and make the chat just be especially because iFlight isn't here, so we'd only be presenting one side of the story. Your original Dobo, you're welcome to make your case in the chat to the other people, and of course anyone who watches the stream will be welcome to read what you have to say. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to bring him on like and actually engage with him, where iFlight doesn't have the ability to engage and counter argue, and then it just becomes another he said she said. So. Don't abuse your powers as a moderator, Dobo. I'm just trying to make your name blue so people know that you're there. I'm not afraid to burn bridges. I'm not afraid to burn bridges. I just you just got to know that's what you're doing. And when you put up a thumbnail like this, you're saying I'm done with this company. Anyway, let's read some of the super chats. We got some super chats up. Let's go ahead. Blue Man Bass, thank you for 5,000. CLP. CLP is Chilean peso. Thank you for 5,000 Chilean peso. I don't see a question from you, Blue Man Bass. So I'm going to just thank you for the donation. B-Man FPV, thanks for a $10 super chat. Yesterday was great. Just curious, were you able to hit the toilet from the hallway with the Hot Ones Arch of Fire? No comment. You Heimlecha, thank you for 5 New Zealand dollars. I've come from the Emax Tiny Hawk 3 and I'm looking to upgrade. Would iFlight Nazgul 5 V2 be a good fit for me to reuse my Emax goggles and controller? I would recommend that you upgrade that controller as soon as possible. Okay. Because the Emax controller is it's okay, but you'll outgrow it quickly, and it doesn't have the best gimbals. You can fly an iFlight Nazgul with it, but I'd recommend thinking about getting something like a Radiomaster Zorro, like a Jumper T Lite, or one of those other controllers, a Radiomaster Boxer, you name it. It would work fine with your goggles, and the goggles I think are you'll get reduced range, but you'll still be able to fly. So just make sure you get an analog one. As Stovall FPV, thanks for a $10 super chat. Longtime viewer, first time chatter. What was your favorite hot sauce for the taste? Of the hot sauces, I think Ghost Branch actually asked me this. I'll show you my answer to him. If I can find it. Where's Ghost Branch? I get a lot of messages. Where's Ghost Branch's message? Ghost Branch, where are you? There you are. It must not have been Ghost Branch. Or it must have been somewhere else. For me, I think no, where's the actual hedonist? There we go. The question is, which was my favorite? I think that honorable mention goes to the mezcal and the collards and Ghost, both for being a very unique and complex flavor. The mezcal with notes of chocolate and espresso and cocoa, and the collard and greens being basically made 100% from collard greens. They would need the right food pairing to really appreciate them, but both of them really stand out as a must-try, interesting hot sauce, not a day-to-day one. As far as my favorite, Also the pineapple cayenne, really nice pineapple flavor, but a little less hot than I usually like it. Wouldn't call it like my favorite. I think the 7th Reaper is very good. And then the Halogi hot sauce is about as hot as I would enjoy going on a day-to-day basis. So I think probably I'd pick 7th Reaper as like my favorite, just all round. But I don't think the 7th Reaper is as like notable. Like on my deathbed, I won't go, oh man, I'm really glad I tried that 7th Reaper. But like I go, oh, you know that mescaline that was a really interesting hot sauce. So there's the answer. Original Dobo, thank you for Original Dobo, thank you for a $20 super chat. I made a decision. Let me see if I can get this up on screen. Can I? No. I made a decision after my email thread with them, nothing to do with the clicks, period. I'll take your word for that. I mean, like you clearly decided to burn them. This thumbnail, you clearly decided to burn them. Right? That's this thumbnail. There's no argument there. You reached a point where you were like, F this company, and you made this thumbnail. And I refuse to believe that when you made this thumbnail, you didn't know that it was going to get you a shitload of clicks. I'm not saying like you sold, yeah, that's why you did it. I mean, the thumbnail could have been you sitting there saying, why I won't review the iFlight Chimera, right? Or my review of the iFlight Chimera went terribly. But it's you giving the bird, dear iFlight, F you. Come on, you did that. I mean, we all play the game. We play the game. When I say you did it for clicks, I just mean you're a professional content creator and you know what gets clicks. The decision was sincere. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I've been surprised by as a YouTube creator. I've been surprised how if you have a very reasonable video with a very measured and balanced take, and you pair that with a very over-the-top thumbnail and title, because that's what you make the best video you can make, and then you sit down. I speak for myself here. I guess I shouldn't say you. And you sit down and you say, okay, I've got a good video here. I need a thumbnail and a title that are going to pull views because I have a good video. I want people to see it. I want it to succeed. And you can end up with a video with a thumbnail and title that are way more salacious, sensational than the actual content of the video. And a lot of people will put so much weight on that thumbnail and title. And no matter how measured and reasonable you are in the video, if the thumbnail and title say, F you, that's what the tone people will take from the whole video. Darren Allett, thank you for a $7.99 Australian. If you fly over water without GPS rescue, you must accept liability if you lose your drone. I don't think Betaflight GPS rescue is that good. I don't know what I would do. Like if I don't think this has ever happened to me. Have I ever destroyed? I'm sure I must have destroyed the product I was supposed to be reviewing. Have I ever destroyed the product I was supposed to be reviewing in such a way that it was like really plausibly my fault? Like even, I'm not sure. I can't remember. I'm having, but if I had been sent a product for review, like I'll give you an example. I have a sponsored video coming up. The video is sponsored by an e-bike company. I told them I didn't want to do a review of the e-bike because who am I to review an e-bike? And that's not what my audience comes for. But I said what I would do is I would do a Cinewhoop chasing video where we would chase the person riding the bike and we'd make a little show reel out of it. And we do a video about Cinewhoop chasing. And in the middle of the video, I do like a 2-minute sponsor plug for their bike. And I took the bike out and I was riding the bike. I had the bike in the back of the truck. We stopped for food. And some little part of my brain said, what if the bike gets stolen out of the back of the truck and I can't make the video? What would I do? Would it be fair for me to call them up and say, hey guys, sorry your bike got stolen. You can't do the commercial. It wouldn't be fair to make them send me another bike. It wouldn't be fair for me to pay $2,000 for the new bike. I don't know. What would I do? That's a really tough situation. But I sure as hell would come to them and be like, guys, I got bad news. I'm really sorry. I don't know how to tell you this. It's a little different when you get a bind and fly quad that should fly well, and then it crashes for no reason. And you're like, it's not my fault it crashed. You guys' stupid quad. Right? I don't know. That's a tough one. Oh, it was Eirik Toft. Thank you. Not Ghost Branch. I crashed the Mo Beetle in the pool. John Goblin, that's right. I did crash the Mo Beetle in the pool. That's a great example, John Goblin. That's almost exactly parallel. So I crashed the Mo Beetle in the pool, and I went back to Happy Model. I said, I'm very sorry I crashed it in the pool, and it doesn't work. And they offered to send me another one. But a Mo Beetle is only $100. I would have absolutely just bought another one for $100 and taken that on the chin. It's a little different. It's a little different if it's a $800 quad. It's a little harder to just take that on the chin. I would say, I mean, I could have said this. You know what I could have done? Is I could have said, iFlight, listen, I don't know why I lost the quad. It just fail-safe for no reason. I really want to finish the review. Can you send me one? I can finish the review and I can send it back. I can, is there some way we can figure this out where I can finish the review? I don't know. I don't know if they would go for that, but Zefty, thanks for $1. Blue Man Bass, thanks for another 2,500 Chilean pesos. Here's the question. Do I need TBS Crossfire diversity if I'm running the DJI O3? What antennas do you recommend for the O3? Goal is to get out to 10 kilometers. Blue Man Bass, I think that the stock DJI antenna is quite good. I think that Wesley Vardy has been out past 20 kilometers on the stock antennas. I don't think he's published that result yet, so I'm not sure it's official, but I believe that's true. If you're trying to do long range, I do recommend the Crossfire diversity antenna, just because it gives you a little bit of insurance if you turn the quad in a way where it's shadowed. It absolutely can save you. So for medium or long range, if you're going more than just 1 or 2 or maybe 3 kilometers, then yes, I would definitely get Crossfire diversity. It's well worth it. Matthew Doherty, thanks for a $5 super chat. How about some more Fet Tech and Kiss content? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Yeah. Any word on Edge TX for the Boxer? No. I actually asked that. I'm not going to be able to find it here during the stream. But I know that they're working on that. With any luck, Edge TX will support the Boxer before it ships, which it hasn't shipped yet. Kmart FPV, thanks for a $5 super chat. Any tips for the O3 Air Unit and Betaflight 4.4? MSP was moved to ports and I can't get the OSD to work. Kmart FPV, I can tell you that I have it working on this quadcopter right here. I guess this is not the O3 Air Unit. No, I have... Okay, hang on. Where's the other one? I have a quadcopter. Here it is. This is a Vanover build. I've got a video coming out about this. This is Vanover's frame. Got the O3 Air Unit in it and Betaflight 4.4, and OSD is working. I can show you my configuration. So in the ports tab, you need MSP and you need peripherals set to VTX MSP plus DisplayPort, at that point, your OSD should work. That should be all you need to do. Literally, that's all you need to do. Then, if you've got the O3, you cannot yet take advantage of the HD canvas. But if you've got WTF-OS, you can take advantage of the HD canvas, and it's really sweet. You got that full canvas, baby. But for the O3, I think the right thing to do is to use PAL as your video format. That's all I did, and it worked. I don't know what to tell you. I wonder what you did and why it's not working. We got a question here from One IFPV. I'm going to take a brief break from the super chats. One IFPV is in the Discord server. Got to take care of the patrons too. In flight controllers, are all 5-volt pads powered from a single BEC? Yes. Can you destroy something if you solder multiple loads to the same 5-volt pad? No. As long as the total load of the things you're soldering up is within the rating of the regulator, it doesn't matter which pad you solder it to. We got another question here from Aldo G. I got the DJI goggles too when I purchased my Avata. I want to fly Tiny Whoops. Would you, number one, get a DJI compatible Tiny Whoop? No. DJI, like Caddx Vista, even Naked Vista, the absolute best, the absolute smallest that I feel like it's any good on is maybe 85 millimeters. At 95 millimeters or 3 inches, you can get a damn good flying Naked Vista quadcopter. It's still heavier than if it was analog, but it's good. It's good. That's my personal take. At 85 millimeters, you're like, okay. And for me, at 65 and 75 millimeters, it's just like, no, I just don't want to do that. There are people who make and sell 75 millimeter Naked Vista builds. I just think I'd rather just fly an 85 or a 95 at that point. So if you really are serious about Tiny Whoops, in other words, like 65 millimeter, then I would get analog, and I guess you would get. But the smart thing to do would probably be to get like a 95 millimeter or a 3 inch, maybe a Cine Whoop. You want to fly Tiny Whoops, you say. And if you're serious about flying Tiny Whoops, you need to figure out how to make analog work for you. Because Tiny Whoops are, or HD0, you just spend a lot of money and get HD0. It's very good on a Tiny Whoop. But I'm guessing you don't want to buy a whole separate set of goggles. Well, you did say get another RCN goggles. Right now, I think HD0 is really, really good on 65 millimeters. Walksnail has a 1S VTX. It's still a little heavier, though. It may catch up. But right now, HD0 is really good. If you're going to buy another set of goggles, think hard about getting the HD0 goggles. It will take some time before you're actually able to order them and before you actually get them in hand. But for Tiny Whoops, with the HD0 goggles, you'll have the option of analog and HD0. It's very, very good for anybody who flies Whoops. I haven't seen the goggles yet, but I feel like they're going to be pretty good. Sidian, I can take one more question from the Discord before we pick back up on the super chats. Sidian asks, what's the best true diversity ELRS receiver in your opinion? Well, I feel like the Happy Model Dual TCXO should be in contention there. Happy Model Express LRS receivers have a solid track record, and that temperature-controlled oscillator is going to be very desirable for people who fly at different temperature extremes. I think that Radio Master This is not. This is the true diversity though. The Radio Master has a. This, what is it? How many other? I think Beta FPV has one, but I wouldn't recommend that. And I'm not sure who else. Who else has? Who else has a true diversity Express LRS receiver? So Beta FPV, just the build quality is too iffy. I wouldn't trust them with a receiver. So just sorry. The Radio Master RP3 is not. Is it true diversity? I don't think it is. I think it's antenna diversity, switching diversity. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So that's not. So I think the happy model is the one. There will be more. Maytech, does Maytech have a true diversity? Oh, the R24D? Maytech's good too. Maytech doesn't have the temperature controlled oscillator though. So I do think, is this true diversity? I'm not sure that it is. We should be able to tell just by looking at the damn circuit. No, see, we would see two radio chips if this was true diversity. We don't see true. See, look at the happy model. Hang on. If you look at the happy model, you see we've got two of each of these chips. That's the true diversity. The Maytech, we only have one. So it's that's not true diversity. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a different receiver. I'm sure that Maytech does make a true diversity receiver. Is it? Am I looking at the wrong one? The R24D? Maytech 2.4 True D. I wouldn't want to get it wrong. I'm just finding the R24D. I feel like the R20, we could just look at the circuit board and see that the R24D can't be true diversity. See, it says right here, antenna switching. There we go. All right, so I'm right about that. How about if we go to products and we look for RF peripherals? Where are they going to be? Express LRS, Crossfire S2.4, R24D. No, I don't see, no. I don't think they have a true diversity receiver. So, happy model it is. Going back to the Super Chats now. We got a question here from Slowbird. Slowbird asks, what's your thoughts on the FPV Ukraine war footage? I'm not allowing it on the FPV subreddit. I think it has its place, but not there. Yeah, I definitely understand why, someone who runs a forum for FPV hobbyists wouldn't want war footage, right? For the same reason, if someone ran a forum about firearms for sport and hunting, right, then they might not want war footage, even though war footage also involves firearms, because seeing war footage is, not what people necessarily want when they're just going about their daily business. That type of footage certainly should be something that people are at least warned about and then hopefully get to opt in on. I am personally fascinated by the stuff I'm seeing coming out of Ukraine in terms of what people are doing with hobby drones. It is so weird to see. I saw a picture recently. It was a FPV drone with a grenade on the bottom that had failed to go off and had been recovered. And it was a diatone. I swear to God, it was a diatone flight. I was like, okay, diatone flight controller, crossfire receiver. Those look like Brother Hobby Motors to me. I swear to God, it was like I recognized all those parts, and there's a grenade on the bottom. Like, it was blowing my freaking mind. It was so weird to me. And I think it has I think that a lot of hobbyists would like to pretend that it isn't happening because it makes them very uncomfortable and afraid for the future of their hobby. Rightfully so. But I think that pretending, the people who make the rules are not pretending it doesn't happen. In fact, the people who make the rules have known about this threat since before you ever thought that it was a thing, like before it even occurred to you. I've talked to people 2-3 years ago who were expressing concern that this was a potential use for hobby drones. And it has always been in the back of my mind as we look at remote ID and other drone regulation around the world, which, by the way, I am not justifying. I'm not saying it justifies it, because in fact, many of the regulations don't actually stop this threat in any meaningful way. So, but as these regulations have been pushed and hobbyists have been like, what do you mean? We're just playing with our toy drones. I'm like, you guys have no idea what the people who are making the rules are actually afraid of. And to some degree, what they're afraid of is disruption of commercial, of full-scale air traffic, which is that a reasonable thing to be afraid of? Or is that just bullshit? That's what they're afraid of, though, whether it's delusional or not. On some level, it is wanting to back traditional commercial interests, the Amazons and the UPSs of the world. The government works for the big companies on some level. That's always true. Lobbying and so forth. And I think there's been a blind spot for a lot of hobbyists who had until pretty much until this year, when all this footage started coming out of Ukraine of hobby drones, like not even like things that are kind of like hobby drones, literally hobby drones, literally off the shelf bind and flies that being used to wage war. And I think that a lot of people didn't really understand that that was also something that the people who make the rules are afraid of. And I've always thought about that when people say, you know what, if you guys just didn't dive buildings, none of this would have happened, or whatever. And it's like, I don't agree with that at all. Because somewhere in a room, there's somebody from the Department of Homeland Security showing a video 2 years ago to somebody from the FAA of a hobby drone doing something like this that you never knew existed, that the public never knew existed, and saying, you better get on top of this. So it's very interesting to now see that come out into the public. And to see a bunch of hobbyists act like this is the first time that anybody ever knew about this, which is, it isn't. STV Drag 225, thanks for a $10 super chat. I'm building a 15-inch quad using a JB F7 V2 flight controller with iNav. Is it possible to drive a couple servos for pan and tilt? And if so, how do I wire it to the controller? So what I'm going to suggest you do... Oh, shit, you're doing iNav. I'm sorry. I was about to link you to my Betaflight servo tutorial. Haha. I don't know about iNav. Can anybody in the chat tell me, can iNav do, now when you say pan tilt camera, do you just mean aux channel pass through? Can iNav do just arbitrary channel pass through to control a pan tilt servo? Seems like the kind of thing they would be able to do. Can anybody in the chat help me with this super chat question? I don't feel confident enough about maybe if I ping Pavel. Oh, it's late. He's probably sleeping. Mupshot says 100% iNav can drive servos. Yeah, no, I know iNav can drive servos. That's like what it's good at. But I'm not talking about like servos to control a plane's control surfaces. Like, can iNav drive a camera gimbal? Maybe that's what you meant, Mupshot. It can do channel pass through for pan and tilt. It can do straight pass-through of aux channels. Okay, fantastic. So you can do it. The other question would be, how do you know where to wire the servo? Can we group chat this? Like, how do you decide where to wire the servos for camera? How about this? iNav, camera, pan, tilt, gimbal. Setting up pan and tilt in iNav, February 20th, 2021. Okay. Painless 360 is going to get the nod for this one. STV.
Hello everyone, welcome to the video. This is a video.
Oh, Painless 360. So really, I should go super chat Painless 360 $15 or $10 now, so he gets the credit since he's going to solve your problem. But I think that you should go check this video out. Okay. RC Addict says, just need to make sure the flight controller has more than 4 motor outputs. It does. The JBF7 has 8. Dozer FPV, thanks for a $5 super chat. I apologize. I see questions coming through. I'm super behind on the super chats. I want to definitely try to catch up. Jonah, the minimum that you need to fly professionally is you take the trust test in the United States. You take the trust test, you get your 107, and you get your ham license. There may be additional requirements depending on where you're flying. Like if you're going to fly in LA, there's all kinds of permits you need. But to me, I think that's the minimum that you need. Aber the Ham, sorry to hear you got COVID. Aber is a doctor, so he probably gets a lot of exposure. Sorry to hear you finally caught it. Okay. The question is from Dozer FPV. Thank you for $5, Dozer FPV. TX16 Mark II firmware update. Edge TX 2.6 config won't read the radio. That has 2.6. Any ideas to get 2.8 SD card update? You are right that Edge TX configurator can't read across versions. Super annoying. I wonder why it won't read the radio. I guess I would probably do the method where you put the firmware on the SD card. Yes, that would be my next go-to, and hopefully by the time you get to 2.8, it'll all work. Hugh Bradburn, thanks for a $5 super chat. Hotter on the way in or on the way out? I'll say this, and I'm not going to get into details that would be gross. When you eat the hot sauce, it is a whole body experience. You're sweating, your face is burning, your lips are tingling, your mouth is burning, your stomach may be burning. On the way out, there's only really one thing like that is bothered. So I'd say that the wings going in was a more stressful experience. The other thing is, on the way out, it's over. When you're eating the wings, you're like, how bad is this going to get? Oh my God, it's still happening. Okay. Brown Solo, thanks for a $5 super chat. Not so much an FPV question, but do you have a laptop you would recommend? I'm looking for something to carry with me for field and tuning adjustments. Brown Solo, that depends heavily on your budget. I have a Dell XPS laptop. I love it. It's been very, very good to me. It does everything I need it to do. It was not like a super cheap laptop. It wasn't like a $3,000 gaming laptop, but it wasn't a $500 budget laptop either. The good news is that you don't need a very beefy laptop to do beta flight. If you want to do video editing, that's a different question. But just for, field tuning and so forth, you could get something used for $500. I don't have a specific recommendation. That's not really my area of expertise. I will say, I just watched this video from my boy Linus. and it seems relevant. This video from Linus, right here. This AliExpress gaming laptop is hilarious. I'll spoil the video for you. There were some things about the laptop that they were like, this is pretty sketchy. Like, it comes with a really sketchy install of Windows that may not be licensed correctly. And they were like, look, if I bought this laptop, the first thing I would do is I would just wipe the hard drive and install a fresh install of Windows on it. But it's like a $400 laptop, and they were pretty impressed with it. And I think it would run Betaflight, no problem. I'm not recommending it to you, but go watch this video and see what you think. They basically said it looks like a really good value for money at this price point. So, there you go. Papa Midnight, thank you for a $5 super chat. I'll go back one question. Brown Solo. The truth is, Brown Solo, if I needed a laptop for Betaflight, I would just go into my local Best Buy and I'd look at something in my price point and go, oh, probably that. Because no matter how low spec it is, it probably will run Betaflight. You won't get the best value for your money, and you may not get the best laptop, but it's simpler than doing a ton of research, so maybe. Papa Midnight, thank you for a $5 super chat. I found a DJI Potato in a tree, posted online, but no one claimed it. I have V2 goggles, but have never flown DJI yet. Will I have a problem activating or binding? Nope, you won't. The activation, once it's activated, it's just activated. They never ask you again. So you won't be able to get warranty service on it, but you didn't buy it, so. And binding, just turn it on and bind it. Should be fine. Austin Inspired, thank you for a $5 super chat. Can you tell us which adjustments to do what on the TX16 gimbal? Yeah, absolutely. So this is going to be true for all of the Radiomaster gimbals. The AGO1 and the Hall effect gimbal. The construction is the same. It's just the AGO1 has metal parts. So if we scroll down, we can find, here we go. Here are the settings. 1 and 2 are the stick travel limiter. They limit the travel at the top and the bottom of the stick. There is no left-right stick travel limiter. Left-right is always just all the way. So be it. I think the reason for that is most people have a little trouble like lifting all the way up and all the way down, but don't have trouble going left-right. Number 3 is the horizontal axis tensioner that is inside this little piece of the gimbal here. Number 4 changes the mode. It enables and disables self-centering. And then number 5 is the vertical axis tensioner. The AGO1 Mini, that's a good point. The AGO1 Mini may not have this. I mean the full-size gimbals. But I mean the Hall Effect V4 and the AGO1 both have the same screw adjustment screws. Simon Thallinger, thanks for €5. What is the E100% error? Just silicon coated my quad and 2 motors are not spinning. Can it be I got some coating on the FC to ESC cable? Yup. So Simon, E100% means that the flight controller and the ESC are not talking. Getting conformal on the wire won't hurt anything. Getting conformal on the pins or the plug header will make it not work. If that's your problem, I think that, will alcohol remove conformal? Or do you need something stronger? You got to try to get it cleaned off of there. Thank you, Zeph D, for another $1 super chat. Time for Flight, thank you for a $5 super chat. How is the Speedy BF7 V3 stack? Does it have enough power for the O3 air unit? Yes, it does. I'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure. I just built a quad with the Speedy BF7 and the air unit, so it better work. What's the regulator rated for? I'm like 99% sure it's fine. We just got to find where in this page the regulator rating is. Oh, there we go. Oh, shut up. Shut your mouth. 9-volt, 4-amp Beck. I kind of don't believe that, but yeah, you're fine. You're fine. Mander FPV, thanks for 10 Australian dollars. Do you like the TX12 and why? Seems like a great radio. Tell me what you think. I don't like the TX12, not because it's a bad radio. Many people love it. It's a fine radio. Radio Master makes a good radio. I just don't like the form factor. It's like sort of the worst of both worlds between a big radio and a small radio, and it just doesn't really fit my hands well. By the time I had a TX12, I would just go for a full-size TX16S. That's my personal take. And I should say, in the interest of fairness, many people love that radio. It's just not for me. So. TX16S or Boxer. I'm really... So I've been flying the Boxer as my full-time radio. I'm not ready to say yet that I'm going to switch and won't go back to the TX16S, but I really do like the Boxer a lot. Yeah, so Wesley says the TX16S sits like crap in my big hands. Right, for a person who this TX16 it doesn't fit well, the TX12 may be perfect. Photonese wants to know whether you should get a lithium-ion or a lithium polymer battery for the Boxer. Photonese, get the biggest battery that'll fit in the battery bay, the Radio Master battery. The number one thing you can do is fill up that bay with as much milliamp hours as possible. The fact that it's a LiPo and not a lithium-ion is not going to make up that difference. That's my personal opinion. John Fly Stuff, thanks for a $5 super chat. Let's just double check if John had a question. All things being equal is 4-inch 1404 2800. Can we get John's question on screen? There we go. Is a 4-inch 1404 2800 kV or a 3.5-inch 1404 3600 kV the best under 250 grams? I think I have said in the past that 3.5-inch is the real sweet spot for sub 250. That once you get above 3.5 inches, like the Umagod 250 is very good, but you make a lot of concessions to get a 5-inch down below that weight. Whereas on a 3.5-inch, I feel like you're not making too many concessions, except for the fact that it's a 3.5-inch, but I think it flies okay. If I could get a 4-inch sub 250 without giving up too much in terms of weight and durability and so forth, I would take it. Because in general, I like the way a 4-inch flies better than I like the way a 3.5-inch flies. And I generally prefer stuff closer to the 4-inch, 5-inch, 6-inch class than the 3-inch class. Once you get down around 2 inches, I don't know. It depends on if I'm thinking of it as a toothpick or something else. But I think I would probably take the 4-inch, but I'd have to see the frame before I made a final decision. Yeah, John Goblin, you're exactly right. The bigger props on lighter weight quads get really floaty. And Ciati has complained about this too. The problem with going to 4 inches is that the prop loading is going to change. It's going to get very floaty, and you may prefer a 3.5-inch. Jonathan McWhorter asks, thank you for $5 super chat, Jonathan. Do you recommend flashing my Mob 7 HD 1S with Blue Jay? I would say if you're happy with how it flies, don't flash it. I have never experienced this, but I have heard from people, because people leave comments on my videos, and I've got a video about how to flash Blue Jay, and there are a few comments from people saying, I did this and it bricked my ESC, and I don't know why. And if I could figure out why and figure out how to prevent it, I would make a video and say, look, don't do this, do this. As far as I can tell, and was it user error? I mean, it can't all have been user error. So, as far as I can tell, every so often when you flash a Blue Jay, you brick the ESC, and it's very, very difficult to get it to come back. And especially on a tiny whoop, where if you brick the ESC, the whole flight controller is useless, that's a lot. So, I probably wouldn't. I also have a feeling, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know if that's true, so I won't say that. So that's what I would say. Mander FPV, thank you for $5 Australian. If I had no OSD, would telemetry on the radio be okay? Yeah, that's what people did before we had OSDs. Back in my day, we didn't have OSDs. Well, we did. We had Minim OSD, which was a separate board you had to install, and it died at the drop of a hat. So, sometimes Blue Jay will try to read an ESC without a battery when it should require a battery, and it bricks the ESC. That's interesting. What PWM frequency would I use for the 250? Craig Jordan, I think on those small 2004 motors on the 5-inch props, you need all the torque you can get. I would use a low PWM frequency. I would say I should preface this by saying I haven't tested this. So if Tommy Tabahia comes out and says, no, don't do that, then believe him. But I would start with a low PWM frequency because I would think that I need as much torque as possible, and lower PWM gives more torque. Can you lower the idle minimum to compensate for the floatiness of the larger props? No, because you can only lower the idle so low before the motor stalls. The issue is a concept called prop loading, which is the weight of the quad divided across the disc area of the props. And no matter what you do with your idle speed, etc., a quadcopter with a lower disc loading is going to fly differently than a quadcopter with a higher disc loading. Jeremy Stromso, thank you for a $20 super chat. No question from Jeremy as far as I can tell, so thank you for the donation, Jeremy. A lot of people in the chat are asking when the Boxer will ship. I do not know. Shortly after the Ranger modules ship, I don't know. I can tell you, I spoke with, well, I shouldn't give out personal information, so that would be inappropriate. I can tell you I speak with people who work at companies in China, manufacturers and so forth. You know, companies like iFlight, companies like Radio Master, etc. I speak with people at these companies on a somewhat regular basis, just because we all work in the same field, and all of them their companies are just like, everyone is out with COVID, and there's like 2 employees in the office, both of whom sort of have COVID, but they're still in the office because otherwise no one would answer the phones or whatever. And then the other 28 employees of the company are all at home with COVID. And so, like, all kinds of stuff is just not getting done. So I couldn't tell you when these products will ship. But I assure you it's not... I mean, I can assure you in all the cases I'm aware of, it's not incompetence or malice. They want to ship your product and they want to take your money. It's just there's no one there to ship the product. So. One IFPV speculates that Ryan Quellett's teaser of a new HD0 order window on January 4th speculates that's what Ryan Quellet is teasing. That would be very exciting. STV Drag 225, thank you for a $5 super chat. The Painless 360 video shows the servos being hooked up on a wing flight controller with servo pins, not a quad flight controller. So STV Drag, any flight controller is going to, any iNav flight controller should have servo outputs available. You're going to need to look in the documentation of the flight controller to figure out where those servo outputs are, because iNav doesn't support resource remapping, so you can't remap them. But it should be supported. You just need to figure out what pins it goes to. Jude King, thanks for a $5 super chat. Boxer or Mambo if firmware is not an issue? My grandpa's getting into FPV and has nothing to transfer into models or settings. I mean, I personally prefer Express LRS to Tracer as a control link. So I would take the Boxer. Now, your grandpa may not enjoy the process of binding an Express LRS receiver, which some would call a gigantic pain in the ass. I mean, you could get a Boxer with a 4-in-1 module and use FreeSky receivers. It'd be okay. Mambo is a solid radio, but I would go with the Boxer personally. If firmware is not an issue, the lack of firmware updates isn't going to really matter. But it just feels silly to buy a radio with a built-in module that you don't intend to use. And it's hard for me to recommend that. It's hard for me to recommend that almost anybody buy into Tracer today. Ooh, that's a hot take. Should we talk about that? That's a hot take. So, who is Tracer the best for? Tracer is 250 hertz. It's a higher frequency, lower latency control link with moderate range, but not great range. Now, there are people out there who will say, what do you mean? Wesley Vardy took Tracer out to 20 plus kilometers, or whatever the number was. Yeah, but he took Express LRS out to, 40 plus kilometers, and it didn't fail safe. Those range tests that people like Wesley Vardy do are ideal conditions. And the reality on the ground is that when you add a few obstacles, it is the effective range and the likelihood of fail-safing Tracer is significantly higher than, almost any of the other control links. That's what I think I see from people I talk to, and my personal experience when I had some Tracer quads. So what is Tracer really good for? Tracer is really good for a racing pilot who doesn't need a lot of range or penetration because they're never flying that far anyway, and wants a simple, reliable, relatively low latency link. By reliable, I mean the hardware that TBS makes is rock solid. It's simple, it's easy to update the firmware, it's relatively easy to manage. It just gets the job done. But as soon as you start wanting to push a little bit of range or penetration, I don't think you should be on Tracer. You should be on Crossfire. You should be on Express LRS maybe, or maybe even Immersion RC Ghost. So your grandpa probably isn't. And the other thing is that a racer is potentially going to have the main reason to stay away from Express LRS would be that it's technically complex and you have to just be a lot more hands-on with it to get good results from it. But a lot of racers are hands-on, and that wouldn't be a problem for them. Jason Aviator, this has got it, Blunty, this has got to go up on the Clips channel. I got to make a video about this, but I'm going to do it right now. I cannot bind my Vista VTX to my DJI V2 goggles. Here is why. Oh, I'm even going to... Oh, look. Look here. I got a Vista right here. Hang on, let me get a battery. I get a battery and a smoke stopper because I haven't taken the props off, but the smoke stopper is going to make it safe. Alrighty, plug in. Oh no, it's going to do the can't load firmware thing, isn't it? Because I have WTFOS. Hello? Hello? There we go. I need to bring up the firmware list. Hello? There we go. Come on, load the firmware. Damn it. Oh. All right, well, here's another one. Wait, why can't you guys not see this? Oh, you guys can't see it. So if you are trying to flash your firmware and you get this could not load firmware list, I guess I don't want to uninstall WTFOS. Damn it. What's the command? I guess I'm going to do it. I just upgraded this too. Put all the shit on it. Oh well. We got to do it. We got to do it for the people. Could not load firmware error. What you got to do is go into WTFOS. FPV-WTF. So you got to go into WTFOS. Hang on. Come on. There we go. Oh, shut up. That's not true. I don't know what to do when it does this. Sometimes it does this, and if you just like wait a minute, it goes away. There we go. Come on. There we go. There we go. So you go into the CLI and you type WTFOS-remove-ADB. Oh, you have to uninstall. Oh, shut the hell up. Okay, so you have to remove WTFOS first. Okay. And then, and then, and then, and then you go to the CLI and you type WTFOS-remove-ADB. Yes. Once that's done, okay, you power cycle. I'm going to close this. Power off. Power back on. Now we can load the firmware. So here we are in DJI Assistant. So that is how you get the firmware list to load. Okay, that's one thing that's got to go up on the Clips channel so I can refer to it when people ask me this question 700 times a day. Then, what about the situation where you cannot get the Vista to bind to the V2 goggles? Here is the reason. If you flash the Vista to firmware 01010000, then you cannot bind the Vista to the V2 goggles. They will only bind to the goggles 2. Okay? So what people do is they get their brand new Vista, they update it to the latest firmware, and then it won't bind to the V2 goggles, and they cannot figure out why. This firmware binds only to the goggles 2, not the V2 goggles. So you need to be on 0608 or 0606, or I think 0608 is the only one that'll be available to you. You need to roll back, and you can roll back. You roll back from 0101 to 01000608, and then you can bind to the goggles 2. Which DJI assistant, FPV or consumer? I think that once you're... I think that they both work, but I just have switched to using consumer because that seems to be where DJI wants it to be going forward. As Brandon Beans points out, if you intend to root the goggles, you should root them before you do any of this. However, remember, you can always use butter to roll back if you do flash that. Okay? So, that's the answer. Roll back to 0608 and don't upgrade. And then you can... Now I have to reinstall FPV WTFOS. So. What voltage is this battery at? Wouldn't want to brick this. Although if I did brick it, I could just use butter. 3.78 volts. You think we should go ahead and install WTFOS? We're going to go for it. What about another, while I reinstall WTFOS, what about another hot take? Do the goggles in Vista stay rooted after firmware update? Yes, they do. They do stay rooted. Am I coming to Rampage this year? Probably. Probably. Why would you ever consider Crossfire instead of Express LRS? 900 megahertz Crossfire is very mature. It's very easy to use and very reliable. There's not a lot of choice in 900 megahertz hardware. What's going on? Have we overheated? Or what's happening here? Any day now. Come on. Come on, baby. You coming back? Are you? It's probably overheating. Hang on. Let's look at this video from XJet. XJet had a video about this report from the CAA, the Civil Aviation Authority in the UK, which contained this picture. And Bruce lost his damn mind. I say that with love. Come on, connect. As he does, he argued that this is a fake. First of all, this image cannot be real. It can't. That airplane is at 25,000 feet. This drone, therefore, that airplane has to be going like 600 miles an hour. There is no possible way that drone is just hovering there, flying around at 25,000 feet. This picture cannot be real. It's a fake picture in one form or another. Okay? Let's stipulate that. So, Bruce's argument is that the government released, the UK government released a report that contained a fabricated picture to create fear-mongering, and Bruce points out that there have been times in the past where the government has misrepresented incidents to make drones look bad. He mentions a case, I don't remember where this happened, but where the government showed a helicopter that had been damaged by impact with something, and they showed a drone, a DJI drone, implying or even outright stating, I don't remember which, that the drone had caused the damage to the helicopter, and later it came out that the drone wasn't involved in the incident at all. It was something like, I remember an incident where a helicopter was like, anyway. But I did a little digging about this because I thought I'd like to know more. And here's the actual document, okay? Let's go look at the report. As soon as it finishes downloading. Now, we're not going to sit here and read the whole report, but what I notice as I look through the report is that the report is full of pictures of drones. Most of them innocuous. Not sensational. Not intended to create fear. They're simply pictures of aircraft. Just illustrations. Here's a drone being used to inspect a roof. Right? Here's I don't know what it is. Lots of different drones. Okay? So, the first thing I notice is that this report is full of pictures. And if we keep scrolling, wait a minute. Now we're talking about the occurrence reporting system and why safety occurrence reporting systems are important. And they're saying there needs to be a way for the aviation industry to identify the safety case for remote operations. It must demonstrate that users within the airspace can operate safely, etc. And here we got some more scary pictures of drones near an airport. And we come to this picture. So the first thing I notice is that neither of these pictures are actual live pictures of an incident in progress. They're illustrative of the kind of problem that the CAA is concerned about. And Bruce is right that there are media organizations who will miss that context and will take these pictures as representative. That a government body put out a report containing this picture while they're talking about the importance of safety reporting, it is completely reasonable to infer that this is an actual incident. It is not. It's clip art. In fact, it's literally clip art because I copy-pasted this image. Wait for it. Wait for it. I'll do it again. I was like, where did this image come from? Because the implication that some people are making, I don't know if Bruce made this exact implication, but the implication that some people are making is that the CAA fabricated this picture to try to make drones look bad. And the story that some people are sharing is that an agency of the British government made a fake picture and lied about this incident. No, not mobile. Can I do a reverse image search here? No, that's... Come on, Google. Can I really do that? Really? Search by image. Upload a file. Desktop. Wait a minute. This image shows up all over the place. Is Bruce right that people are reporting on this image and misapplying and, has this? No. In fact, this article is from December 2017. This image has existed since at least December 2017. Where does it come from? It comes from Getty Images. This is clip art. This is stock photography. Someone from the CAA went on Getty Images. I bet all of these are from Getty Images, I would wager. I don't know. But someone from the CAA was tasked with filling out this report with just pictures to make it look nice. And when they got to the chapter about drone reporting, they started searching for drones and airplanes, and they found this image. So who's to blame here? Is the CAA to blame? I would, in my opinion, the CAA is at least lazy. And that doesn't mitigate the harm that will be done by having a fake, misleading image in a government report. Government reports carry weight. People from the CAA shouldn't just randomly grab pictures and stuff them in their reports without understanding that people are going to take them to mean more than maybe they intend to mean. But it is not true that the CAA made a fake image. They didn't make this image. This image comes from Getty Images, which is a stock photography site. And it is also not true that publishing this is going to, well, I guess I can't say that for sure. But this image has been disseminated since 2017. Just as an illustration of the kind of problem that people are worried about, and has never been represented as a specific incident that actually happened. So, like, maybe it'd be better if instead of being a photograph, it was an illustration. Oh, there we go. There it is again. No, by the way, no Getty Images. You should be attributing this, probably. All right. So I thought that was an interesting bit of context to provide to this. That it's not, the story is not the CAA made a fake image and lied to mislead the public. The story is some dumbass over at the CAA getting paid $12 an hour to fill out the report or whatever, grabbed a bunch of images from Getty Images and stuffed it in. And I'm surprised that I'm the first one to figure this out. But there you go. Mike Bergman, did Bruce call out the Getty Images? I watched Bruce's video because I was like, if I'm like, I'm a smart person for thinking of this, and then Bruce also did the same thing, then I'm going to look like a dumbass. I watched Bruce's video. I didn't see him mention that the image had been published previously or was from Getty Images. I could have missed that, I suppose, if that happened. Bruce mentioned they used stock images. Oh, I missed that. If he did mention that, then he fully gets he gets credit for that. I watched his video and didn't catch that, but I could have overlooked it. I definitely felt clever when I figured out it was from Getty Images. I thought I was a good detective. Mike Bergman says he may have mentioned it in a live stream. Okay, fair enough. I watched his actual video, not his live stream. So, let's continue. BW, thanks for a $5 super chat. I got a new job. Went from associate to manager in less than a month. Looks like I can buy more quad parts. Thank you, BW, for the super chat. BW, another $5 super chat asks, can you find me a Lumineer Micro Axi Stubby MMCX in stock anywhere? I mean, if it's not in stock at GetFPV, then where is it going to be in stock? So I would have to look at GetFPV, but it may just not be in stock. Wow. That's extraordinary. Holy shit. Is this true? Wow, somebody just posted this in the Discord. Not really quad related, but holy shit. Wow. It looks legit. There you go. That's really something. I had to look. Infinity Loops image searched it on his live stream minutes after Bruce released his video. Credit to Infinity Loops then. Yeah, that's really something. I mean, I guess if you're going to go out, that's probably how he probably could have guessed that's how he was going to go out. But there you go. R.I.P. R.I.P. Ken Block. Mander FPV, thanks for $5 Australian. What's the advantage of Express LRS over Crossfire, if there is any? Oh, man. Don't make me do this. Don't make me do this, right? Can we not? It's a super chat. And can you also, hey, okay, all the TBS fans, all the TBS people, they asked, what's the advantage of Express LRS if there is any? So when I answer this question and I only say good things about Express LRS, it's not because I'm biased or hate Crossfire. It's because he asked, what are the advantages? He didn't ask for a balanced take. Follow me? What are the advantages of Express LRS over Crossfire? Much lower latency, packet rates up to 1,000 hertz, smaller antennas, a wider variety of hardware. If a Happy Model Express LRS receiver is out of stock, you could buy a jumper or a Radio Master, and you could still get what you need to get in the air. Faster development. As of the last year and a half, let's say, Express LRS has been just blazing fast development. They've come out with things like packet modes where they send each packet twice so you get more reliable. They got a packet mode where you send each packet 4 times so you get an even more reliable link. It's at the expense of range, but you get the trade-off there. They've released all kinds of features. Crossfire development has been relatively stagnant. You can just look at the release notes. There have been some bug fixes. There have been some firmware releases. They recently released a firmware and they have military-grade encryption, which usually means 256-bit AES encryption. Okay, that's cool. Somewhere out there, there's someone who really, really wanted encryption on their Crossfire link. I assume that's why TBS did it. When I see TBS out of the blue release that they've got military-grade encryption that no hobbyist has ever cared about or asked for, I assume that someone that they got a contract from someone who wanted military, and they bought 1,000 receivers or something, but they had to have military-grade encryption. I can't imagine why they would have put their development resources into that, but whatever. I don't run TBS. So Express LRS definitely is faster moving in terms of its development, at least in the last year and a half. Smaller antennas, wider variety of hardware. Those are some of the things that make people choose Express LRS over Crossfire. Wireless access to Betaflight through the... You want to see something... Do you want to see something badass? Wait till you see this. I need a Express LRS receiver that powers up from... can we power it up from USB? Does this power up from USB? Hold on. It does not. Oh, it does. Okay. Okay, so Betaflight 4.4, configurator 10.9. I guess I shouldn't. If I plug it into the computer, it kind of ruins it. I'm going to plug into this. This is my phone charger. My flight controller is not plugged into my computer. Okay? My Express LRS receiver is now powered up. It's going to take 30 seconds for it to go into Wi-Fi mode. I'll answer another question in the meantime. Driftaholic, thank you for a $10 super chat. I'm building an 8S 5-inch for fun. 1100 milliamp hour GNB battery, Foxeer 8S stack DJI O3 on an AOS 5 V2. I'm stuck on motor choice. 2306 Smooks 1350. Still hasn't gone to Wi-Fi. Or FetTech 2407 11. Oh no! How did I get muted? Oops, I hit the button by accident. Sorry, guys. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back now. I think I hit the mute button by accident. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I plugged in the Express LRS receiver. Betaflight Configurator has automatically picked it up. Okay? It's automatically picked it up. And look, I am not plugged in to Betaflight. I'm not plugged into my computer. I can connect over the Express LRS receiver over Wi-Fi. This better work or it's going to be really dumb. Betaflight 4.4. Oh, okay. Damn it. Damn it. It didn't work. All right, well, this is not perfect. There we go. Let's try again. No, it's not working. I don't know why it's not working. Okay, well, it has worked. About the motors. It almost worked. It's so cool. It doesn't work. About the motors. I feel like the 1350 kV is where I'd want to be. And if you think that's too much, you can always use a motor output limit to scale it down. Cool Cat, yes. Express LRS receivers can connect to your home Wi-Fi network if you give them the credentials. Once they are on the home Wi-Fi network, you can flash them over Wi-Fi. And you can also connect to Betaflight. And then Betaflight Configurator 4.4 auto-detects them when they're on the network, which is pretty freaking cool. Except it didn't work right now, so there you go. Mars FPV, thanks you for $5 Australian. I have the DJI V1 goggles, but I haven't been flying for about a year. Is there any updates that I should or should not do? Yeah, Mars FPV, look up my video about WTF OS. Okay? WTF OS. That's the number one thing you need to look into before you do any firmware updates or anything. Got a question here from Entertaining Obsidian. Thanks for a $2 super chat. Can you rate my parts list? It's in the Discord. Okay. Where is it in the Discord? I will if you where is it though? I don't see it. Slaughter Bartfast makes a good point. Going back to an earlier question about what do you need to fly professionally? And I said you need a ham license, a 107, and you take your trust test. Slaughter Bartfast points out correctly that the ham license is for amateur use only. And you're right, but there is no Part 107 equivalent to your ham license. And so I kind of don't know what to tell you. I would say it's safest to get your ham license, even though you're not operating as an amateur. But, you're right. If you're a commercial operator, you're not actually allowed to do that under your ham license. I've never heard of the FCC making an issue about it. And that includes like professionals flying on movie sets, right? There simply isn't a way under the FCC structure for a pilot to legally use. Well, you could be using DJI, which is Part 15 certified, and that's legal to use. But an analog video transmitter, none of them are Part 15 certified. There's no legal way to use a Part 97 device commercially, is the takeaway. And all analog video transmitters are Part 97 devices, I'm pretty sure. So I would say cover your ass and get a ham license so that if the FAA comes looking, you say, yeah, I have a ham license. And then you see where it goes from there. But you're right that technically that's, if you're flying commercially with a Part 97 device like a analog video transmitter, you are not in compliance with the rules. Where's this parts list? Here we go. We got a parts list here from Entertaining Obsidian. QAVS frame. Well, that's, I think that's a good frame. That's the one I fly. It's the one with my name on it. Flight controller, JBF7V2. I can't complain about that. Blitz, E55 forward 1. Solid. It'll plug into the JBF7V2 without any problems. Motors, Zing 2 2306 1755 kV. My personal take would be 2207's a little better, but the difference is not very. If you like 2306, go for it. DJI O3 air unit used with goggle V2. So the O3 air unit, the major drawback is it has poor dynamic range and it has worse low light sensitivity. So you would definitely want to keep that in mind. If you're going to be flying at dusk, if you're going to be flying into and out of dark areas, like flying into a dark bando, then you should probably think twice about whether the O3 air unit is the best choice for you. It has more resolution and lots more features, but you should know that going into it. And Happy Model Express Solaris Nano EP1 Dual TX. Yeah, that's a solid build. We got 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left in the stream. Can you get Betaflight on Chromebook? I don't think the Chrome version of Betaflight is updated anymore. Nullzeal says, I thought the ham license was only needed for analog. Nullzeal, the way the law in the United States works is if a device has been submitted to a lab for testing and the test results show that it is in compliance with Part 15, then it can be submitted to the FAA for Part 15 certification, and then it can be sold as a Part 15 device. A Part 15 device, a great example of a Part 15 device is any Wi-Fi device that you have is likely Part 15 certified. And that's how you're able to use Wi-Fi without having any licensing. Any device that does not have a Part 15 certification, even if the device could pass Part 15, even if it complies with Part 15 requirements in every way, if the device has not been submitted to a lab, tested, and those test results submitted to the FCC, then it doesn't have Part 15 certification, and therefore then how can it operate legally? Well, typically it would then operate under Part 97, which is ham licensing rules. So an analog video transmitter, none of them have Part 15 certification. Very, very few of them would be eligible for Part 15 because they don't meet the requirements. So the only legal way to operate an analog video transmitter is under Part 97 with your ham license. I shouldn't say only. That's the most common one. But then, for example, with the DJI V2 system, only 3 of the channels are Part 15 certified. The remaining 3 channels, I don't even remember which channels it is, so forgive me for that. The remaining 3 channels are not are only available if you have a ham license. That's why the 03 air unit ships with only 3 channels available in the beginning and only one 50 megabit per second channel. Until you do the ham unlock, you're telling it I have a ham license. So it's not just analog devices that require a ham license. Alrighty, folks. That's a really good point too, RC Addict. As soon as you modify a device so that it no longer matches its configuration at time of certification, it now is no longer eligible under Part 15. So you take the antennas off your DJI V2 goggles and you put an iFlight crystal on there, you need a ham license. You're supposed to have a ham license for that, for example. Alrighty, guys, that is going to wrap up this stream. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks to everybody. I caught up on Super Chats. I am. Thanks to everybody who donated the Super Chats. Thanks to everybody in the Discord server for being patrons. If you want to join them in the Discord server, sign up to be a patron. Link in the video description below. It means a lot. And thanks to everybody in the comments for being here. Good stream, everybody. Good night, everybody. Have a great stream, Siati.